Hoarded Books and RB Digital present The Life She Was Given by Ellen Marie Wiseman, narrated by Lori Gardner. Chapter 1. Lily. July 1931. Blackwood Manor Horse Farm, Dobbins Corner, New York. 9-year-old Lily Blackwood stood in the attic dormer of Blackwood Manor for what felt like the 1,000th time, wishing the window would open so she could smell the outdoors. Tomorrow was her birthday, and she couldn't think of a better present. Sure, Daddy would bring her a new dress and another book when he came home from Pennsylvania. But it had rained earlier, and she wanted to know if the outside air felt different than the inside air. She wondered if raindrops made everything feel soft and cool, the way water did when she took a sponge bath. Or did the outside feel warm and sticky, like the air inside her room? She had asked Mama 100 times to change the window so it would open, and to take the swirly metal off the outside so it would be easier to see out. But as usual, Mama wouldn't listen. If Mama knew Daddy let her play in another part of the attic when she was at church, Daddy would be in big trouble. Even bigger trouble than for teaching her how to read and for giving her a cat on her 3rd birthday. Lily sighed, picked up her telescope off the sill, and put it to her eye. At least it was summertime, and she didn't have to scrape ice off the glass. Daddy called this time of day twilight, and the outside looked painted in only 2 colors, green and blue. The row of pine trees on the other side of the barn, past the fields where the horses played, looked like the felt Lily used for doll blankets. Shadows were everywhere, growing darker by the minute. Lily skimmed the edge of the woods, looking for the deer she saw yesterday. There was the crooked willow tree. There was the rock next to the bush that turned red in the winter. There was the broken log next to the stone fence. There was the... She stopped and swung the telescope back to the fence. Something looked different on the other side of the woods, near the train tracks that cut through the faraway meadow. She took the telescope away from her eye, blinked, then looked through it again and gasped. Air squeaked in her chest, like it always did when she got excited or upset. A string of blue, red, yellow, and green lights, like the ones Daddy put above her bed at Christmas time, hung above a giant glowing house made out of something that looked like cloth. More lights surrounded other houses that looked like fat little ghosts. Lily couldn't make out the words, but there were signs, too, with letters lit up by colored bulbs. Flags hung from tall poles, and a line of square yellow lights floated above the railroad tracks. It looked like the windows of a stopped train, a really long one. Lily put down the telescope, waited for her lungs to stop whistling, then went over to her bookcase and pulled out her favorite picture book. She flipped through the pages until she found what she was looking for: a colorful drawing of a striped tent surrounded by wagons, horses, elephants, and clowns. She hurried back to the window to compare the shape of the tent in the book to the glowing house on the other side of the trees. She was right. It was a circus, and she could see it. Normally, the only things outside her window were horses and fields, and Daddy and his helper working on the white fences or yellow horse barn. Sometimes Mama walked across the grass to the barn, her long blonde hair trailing behind her like a veil. Other times, trucks pulled into the barn driveway, and Daddy's helper put horses in and out of trailers or unloaded bags and hay bales. Once, 2 men in...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.